Thank you. So tonight we have a lot to talk about in terms of RN patient advocacy work. And so tonight we're going to check in as what we found out from SCORE and what we found out from a small business center near you, or was it possible? And so why don't I start with you, Chelsea, since you've already kind of done your homework.
No problem. So yeah, for those that may not have heard, I've got a SCORE mentor coming up, and I'm going to a meeting this weekend. And then as far as the small business, we have so much opportunity around here. So I have got an orientation class set up for Mountain BizWorks at the end of October. So
tell them what Mountain BizWorks is. That's very cool.
It is really cool. So it's, I don't know if it's officially attached to the Small Business Center or not, but they give a lot of the same education that the small business centers do. But then there is an opportunity for a loan to help you possibly get started. And then the people that have already been part of the program help to pay back. There's kind of a pay forward type of a situation, and help, the next people that come in. So it looks amazing. There's a lot of businesses around that seem to have used that to get started. So hopefully it'll go well.
Totally awesome. Thank you, Chelsea. All right. And Miss Sandy Dinkler, what about you, Dingler?
Well, you wanted to know what now? Say that again. I was looking at something.
That's all right. We're trying to see if you had any luck finding a SCORE chapter.
I put that on there, and I've gotten several newsletters, and there is plenty in there. I told the mentor what I was looking for to just get started, and they suggest I start with a newsletter, so I did that, and there is just tons of stuff, and I put the link in there on the assignment thing.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Sandy. And Kelly, what about you?
Last Thursday I left and didn't get home till like 2 o'clock Monday morning, and worked Monday and Tuesday and today. So I did look at it this afternoon, and there is one in Columbus, and I signed up. And it looks like they have tons of webinars online and live webinars, and they have a women's business, and there's like 3 different things: SCORE, small business, something, and something else with 4 letters.
Awesome. With 4 letters. Okay.
Yeah. And it gave me the breakdown of each one, what they did.
Awesome. That's just great.
And I printed it, and it's somewhere.
It's somewhere. That's the start. That's a start. Good. All right. And what about you, Miss Stella?
Oh, let me get my, I'm not on mute. I did find there are 2 locations in the area. One is at Johns Hopkins University, but they have a satellite campus in Columbia, Maryland, which is perfect. It's right where I'm at. And the other one is at Towson University, which is not that far away. I haven't had a chance to reach out to any of them, but I know I did browse through, and they do have a lot of webinars. And there's also a small business entrepreneur center at Howard Community College, which is like 15 minutes driving distance from me. And they do offer some courses on entrepreneurship.
Wonderful.
So I'll be reaching out to them.
Stella, what is their closest city in Texas to you, or where do you live?
Maryland.
Maryland, that's right. Where's the closest city that you live in Maryland? Oops. Off. Okay, go ahead.
City-wise, I mean,
yeah,
Columbia is considered a city, but metropolitan city would probably be Baltimore.
Baltimore, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's where Hopkins is.
Yeah. I wondered if you live near Hopkins, but anyway, that's good.
I don't work far from there. I don't work far from Hopkins now. So yeah, Hopkins is commutable distance, but this satellite office is like about 10 minutes from me. So
Totally awesome.
yeah, so it's very nice.
Thank you, Stella.
Mhm.
And Mary, hi Mary, welcome, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I was late trying to get myself together. I haven't had a chance to look up those the SCORE organization, but I know that we have them here because I've dealt with them in the past. So, you know, and they offer online things, and it's always good to, and you can connect with someone. In the past, I met with someone personally, and they're very helpful. So.
Totally awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Sue, I think it's you you have San Francisco in the background. Is that right? All right. Are you Sue Logston? I think I have that right. Hello? Can you hear me? She don't think she can hear me. Well, let me go to Monique and see if she can, maybe Monique, let's see if she can hear me. Hi, Monique, can you hear me?
Hey, Karen. Yeah, I can hear you. I
Goody.
wasn't. Hey, we have an assignment.
Yeah, we had an assignment. We're supposed to go look up our closest SCORE office, wherever that is, and was there a small business center or entrepreneur center close by?
No, I did. When I did the SCORE, there wasn't anything close to me.
Really? So, Monique, you can go to www.score.org, and it's a national link, and they have hundreds, I mean, hundreds of recorded and videotaped presentations on anything your heart's desire. So you might want to just check that out. Okay.
Okay. All
All
righty.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And I think I'm trying to reach Sue. 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 I wonder if I should chat her. Or Sue. 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 Okay, I'm going to chat her and see if I can get her to turn. Let's see, I'm going to turn Sue. I'm pretty sure it's Sue. Isn't it Sue? She's not showing up on the list either, Mark. What do you think?
She's just appearing as a Zoom user.
Yeah.
Is that the lovely lady that joined us for more
She's the
recently?
one that went to Wyoming.
I think she
Montana.
isn't she from California?
Yeah,
No, the one from California has dark hair.
yeah, that's not Sue.
Okay. Okay, that's not
Is
Sue.
that the lady that were just retired or from traveling something and moved to like Wyoming or Montana or something?
Mm.
Oh, I think that's the new lady that joined us recently. Didn't she come in?
Oh, is that Anna Maria? That's Anne Maria.
Yes.
That's who it is.
Ah, there we go.
Hi, Anne Maria. How are you doing? Can you hear us?
Hanging in there. Yes, I can. I'm having problems with my computer, so I use my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, we were just asking everybody to talk about their homework. Did you have a chance to go look up a SCORE chapter by any chance?
But I couldn't find anything in a college over here in New York.
Mhm.
They quite a bit of small business beginning entrepreneurs. So I went into them, and I made a connection with a girl that's supposed to get back to me during the week to see what's available. And I was told there's also a lot of money, a lot of money available for.
I
So
think
that's what
that's true.
I'm hoping for.
All right. Well, good. All righty. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome you all. And so, Mark, you can talk too, but I've used SCORE. I have a fabulous mentor. Haven't had a team of people help me. I have SCORE people come and talk at this class. You guys will be having a SCORE person by the name of Tom Mock talk about the benefits of SCORE on November 2nd. And it's just been a great experience for me to avail myself of great talent. Mark, you want to talk about your experience with SCORE real fast?
Yes, SCORE is actually an acronym for the Service Corps of Retired Executives. And they're one of the oldest groups in the small business sector. They're kind of the volunteer arm of the Small Business Center. And definitely when you go, especially if you meet in person, have business cards and ask if you can leave them there in the office, or solicit your services if you want to practice your pitch. That could be something that you do with your SCORE mentor. But they usually meet for an hour and then may provide some homework. You have the availability of meeting any SCORE mentor throughout the United States through the website, doing it virtually, and it really is impressive the thought process that they'll instigate with you.
Thank you, Mark. That's wonderful. All righty. Well, tonight we have a lot of content, and because we have a lot of content, we're also going to have several breakout groups. So this will be probably a chance for each one of you to hang out with several of you. So let's see, we have 2, 5, we have 8 students. So you guys will probably have chances to be with each other differently. So I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to, let's see, go here. And we're going to come up here, and we're going to move this over, and we're going to here. Okay. So tonight is class number 7. Yikes. And we're going to talk about the class schedule, intuition types, ACEs scores, who's on your healing team, power of networking, Enneagram books, the 13 top question patients and families want you to solve as an RN patient advocate, holistic RN. We won't get to RN patient advocacy forms this week. And I'll ask you about the end about, would you guys like a sharing circle once every few weeks to review homework? So we'll talk about that. So let's jump to this screen. So this is so far our class schedule. So it started up here in the left corner with the first class, second class, third class, we had Jan Nickerson. Fourth class, we had Greg. Fifth class, we had Gary Heisey with business planning. And the last week was Sarah Benoit. And this week it's me. And then next week will be Linda Bark with nurse coaching. The week after that, we're going to be talking about charges in the hospital and forms. On October 19th, we're going to be talking about your Enneagram personality types with a nationally recognized expert named Sandra Smith. And then no class on the 26th of October. Then on the 2nd of November, we'll have Tom Mock and a woman named Michelle Trox. That's choosing your business entity. That would be an LLC or a sole proprietorship. The 9th will probably be me. The 16th will probably be me. Then there's going to be no class on Thanksgiving. And then the November 30th, December 7, December 14th, those are in the workings to get the speakers confirmed. So let me stop sharing and say, in the meantime, one of the things to get you guys prepared for the Enneagram class on November 16th is I'm sending you each a little book called the Enneagram Personality Type. And in that book, it's just a teeny tiny little yellow book. I'm trying to see, I don't see mine hanging out up there, but there's a little test where you have to read 9 paragraphs which you kind of select the one that resonates most with you. Do any of you all know your Enneagram type yet? So we're going to be talking about the Enneagram because there's 9 personality type structures. And we're going to be, once you choose your structure, oh, look, Mark has a prop. You want to flash it up there, Mark? Yay, this is what you're getting in the mail. So Kelly Davis and Chelsea, I've just mailed yours. And the rest of the class, I'm doing 2 or 3 a day. Oh, and Mary says she thinks she's a 6. All right. So there's a little, there are 3 pages with paragraphs, A through H, I think. And you have to pick the paragraph that most resonates with you. And there's a crosswalk in there that says, well, if you're paragraph A, you are type 7, for example. That's not it, but then you'll have to tell me what your type is. And then Sandra's going to talk about how each type has a response to fear. And really, fear is a key emotion we all have about stepping out on a limb on which we've never stood before with skills that we have not used. And how do we push through that fear to be our best selves as we start our businesses? So it's all very fascinating. So just letting you know, you're going to be getting a present from Amazon in the next week or 2. Okay. Chelsea, you're going to get yours in the next day or so. And so is Kelly. Okay. All right. So now that was a paid political announcement. I'm going to share my screen again. And now we're going to go back up here. And all right. So now I'm going to keep going. And this is an overview about our 5-hour business training program that's got a tremendous amount of things in it. We'll be talking more about some of these topics that we won't have time to go through in the regular class, but we will be reinforcing some of the content, like your 1-page business plans that Gary reviewed, et cetera, et cetera. And so a step-by-step procedure that we're kind of trying to get you to go through is to start the class and have a notebook so you can put your notes in it or any kind of handouts that you think are helpful, and to identify your business name, which some of you guys have done. We haven't talked much about we talked about that when Gary was here, about going to the Secretary of State website, but we will be reviewing that to determine if anyone else has your name, and to go buy your domain name, maybe 2 or 3, and then start taking classes at your local school. So some of you guys have already done that. And Jan Nickerson was here to help you establish your WOW criteria, and then to go in and buy a business EIN number. That's your tax ID. Should be totally free. If they charge you $75, hang up and stop. Don't do it. And then should you hire a person to do your web design, or can you do it yourself? What's your favorite colors to put those on your website? What are pictures that resonate with you, that speak a message about you? So I have selected pictures that I put on my website. You don't have to do that. I also have a lot of artwork around here that inspires me. Work on writing the text for your website. So maybe a place to start is About Me page. What is it about Kelly? What is it about Chelsea? What is it about Anne Maria? What is it about Mary? What is it about all of you that tells a story about who you are and why are you doing your business? And then coping, we're going to talk about coping and relaxation strategies and creating business cards and a brochure. These are just some of the things we're going to be talking about the next week. And this list is going to grow to about 100 things by the time this class is over. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk about are what are ACEs scores, adverse childhood experiences. What is the adverse childhood experience questionnaire? So in the first, there's 7 modules of the course. And the first one is establishing a relationship with the patient. and also to understand your own internal landscape. And part of our internal landscape, we're going to be giving these questionnaires to patients. So like a good nursing student, if you were going to give a foul medication, liquid or otherwise, our instructors always said you have to taste it first. Remember that? So this is part of your experience to learn what ACEs scores are. So adverse child experiences, or ACEs, are potentially traumatic events that occurred in our childhood between 0 to 17 years that we experienced violence, abuse, or neglect, and we witnessed it at home. And it could have been a family member that attempted to have suicide or died. And also there might have been attributes of our environment that undermined our safety and stability and bonding growing up. And also there could have been substance abuse, mental health issues, or instabilities due to parents separating or leaving, or incarceration of a parent or death of a parent. And these events are emotionally painful or distressing, and they have effects that last for years. So factors such as nature, frequency, and seriousness of the traumatic event plus prior history can affect your CASES scores. And so another way to look at it, it's toxic stress during childhood can harm our nervous, our endocrine systems, and it can affect the structure of our DNA. It also affects our brains in terms of being immersed in toxic stress. And children growing up in these conditions have a hard time learning. And we also know that after time, these kinds of people go on to have more development of chronic illnesses and mental health challenges over their lifetime. And they might go on to have unstable work histories or difficulty managing finances and family throughout their life. And so compared to those who report no ACE, no high scores, these people report a higher incidence of MIs and asthma and diseases with a score of 1 to 3, 4 to 6, or 7 to 9 ACEs scores. And we know that people who develop chronic illnesses have high ACEs scores considered over 4. So it's a real important thing to understand about. And this is a graph. There's a big, this is off the CDC website that just talks about adverse childhood events. And you can see you have more risk for negative health and well-being on the vertical axis, and on the horizontal axis, the higher your ACE score is, the more likelihood is that you're going to have negative health outcomes. So what can be done to prevent adverse childhood events is to, or what are the long-term effects? And we have disrupted neurodevelopment, adoption of healthy, risky behaviors, and it affects our lives as we go on. And some of the strategies to help with these kinds of things are to have more economic support for families, have more social norms, have stronger starts for children, teaching skills, and having places like mentoring and after school programs to intervene with these kinds of family places. And so what happens when you're faced with a client who has evidence of a deep psychological wound in a coaching session or in a holistic RN patient advocacy session? We're going to talk about that in just a second. So I'm going to, before I break you into groups, has anybody ever heard of this book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk? It's a fabulous book about brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. Talks a lot about the development and of PTSD in children and people who are experienced of these kind of horrific events in their childhood. And it's a highly acclaimed book. I have a copy, and I've referred a lot of my clients to read this book. So I'm going to read this adverse childhood event score, and I want you all to write down, you can have a maximum of score of 9 if you answer yes to any of these questions, okay? So I'm going to read these questions, then I'm going to break you into probably 3 groups, okay? So the first question is, did a parent or other adult in the household often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you? And if that's true, you're going to get a score of 1. Number 2, did a parent or other adult in the houseful often push, grab, slap, or throw something you or ever hit you so hard that it left a mark? If you answered yes, you put another point down. Number 3, did an adult or person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondle you, or have you touched their body in a sexual way, or attempt or actually have oral, anal, or vaginal intercourse with you? If that's a yes, give yourself a point. Number 4, did you often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special? If that's a yes, you're going to put another point down. Your family didn't look out for each other, feel close, okay? Number 5, did you often feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, or no one protected you, or your parents were too drunk or high to take care of you or to take you to the doctor? If that happened, put a point down. Number 6, were your parents ever separated or divorced? Put a point down if that's true. Number 7, were any of your parents or other adult caregivers often pushed, grabbed, or slapped, or had something thrown at them, or were they kicked, bitten, hit with a fist or with something hard? Number 8, did you live with anyone who was a problem drinker or alcoholic? Number 9, was a household member depressed, mentally ill, or attempted suicide? Number 10, I'm sorry, they're 10. And number 10, did a household member go to prison? So I'm going to just stop there for a second and ask if everybody got a score. Did everybody get a score? Okay. So Sue's coming in. She's going to join us. And so let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 students. Hi, Sue. And I think what we'll do, maybe we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wonder if it should be, I think we should do 3 groups and have a couple be 2 and a couple have 1 or 3. Sorry. Does that make sense? One group would have 3 and yeah, my math. All right. And Sue, what we're talking about is the ACEs scores, and we're asking our students to do the ACE scores, and then we're going to get in the classroom. Have you ever had your ACEs scores? Do you know what your score is overall? Okay, we'll hold you back so we can read you, and then I'll put you in a group. Okay, so you guys are going to have about 5 minutes to discuss this. What's your ACEs score? And then we'll come back and share for a minute, okay? So I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. We haven't done this before. Has anyone ever not done a breakout room? Raise your hand. Okay, so Anne Maria, what's going to happen is when I put you in a breakout room, you're going to get a little message that says, I'm going to put you in a room, and it says, will you go in this room? And you click on yes, okay? And I'll put you in a room. And so all of your assignment is to talk about your numeric score of your ACEs and talk about a little bit about what happened. And of course, everything in this class is always confidential, okay? All right, are we ready? Any questions? And Sue, I'm going to hold you back so I'm going to let you do a score real fast. So we're going to do 3 groups, all right? And let's see, it is about 7:33. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. That'll give each person, if you have a group of 3, of about 3 minutes. And if it's just 2 of you, you'll have 5 minutes each. You think that's about right? Okay. All right, so I'm going to break you into 3 rooms. And all right, here we go. Okay. So Sue, we're doing ACEs scores.
Mhm.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the ACEs score. And so you're going to score yourself with 1 point. So first question, did a parent or other adult in the household often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you? Give yourself a score of 1. If that happened. Number 2, did a parent or other adult in the household often push, grab, slap, or throw something at you or ever hit you so hard? That would be a point, another point. Number 3, did an adult or person at least 5 years older than you ever touch or fondle you, or have you touched their body in a sexual way, or attempt or actually have oral, anal, or vaginal intercourse with you? If you have a yes, that's a point. Number 4, did you often feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were important or special, or your family didn't look out for each other? If that's true, score yourself a point. Number 5, did you often feel that you didn't have enough to eat, had to wear dirty clothes, and no one protected you, or your parents were too drunk or too high to take care of you? If that's true, give yourself a point. Number 6, were your parents ever separated or divorced? If that's true, give yourself a point. Number 7, were any of your parents or other adult caregivers often pushed, grabbed, slapped, or had something thrown at them, sometimes or often kicked, bitten, hit with a fist or hit, ever repeatedly? And number 8, if that's true. And number 8, did you ever live with someone with a problem drinking or using drugs? Number 9, was a household member depressed or mentally ill? Or did a household member attempt suicide? Yes, with a point. And number 10, did a household member go to prison? Okay. Have you got your score? Okay. I'm going to put you in a room. So let me look here and see where I'm going to put you.
You had me in 1, but I don't know if you still want me in 1. I'm sorry. I'm late.
Yeah, I'm going to. So that would have been Mark and you, but there's nobody in there. So I'm going to try. Gee, I wonder how I do this. How am I going to do this? I have to put her in. I can put you in 2. Let's see, Mark. I might need some help with this. Let me click on her. Oh, I'm going to move you to. Okay. I'm going to move you to room 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So just.
I think she may have moved herself to number 3.
I think I'm in number 1 still. That's funny.
So I think I'm in the meeting lobby. You should have had a button to appear to select to go into the meeting room. I don't have, let's see, here we go, breakout rooms.
I have one. It says join breakout room, but it's room 1.
Okay, you and I are in the same breakout group. So I don't have the administrative control to change this. Karen's in room number 3, but
Did she escape?
she may be there, just kind of rotating through there. But the ACEs score, I used to live in a homeless shelter, and
As a child?
No, as an adult.
Okay.
I actually spent almost the last 3 or 4 years. All right, so Karen wants to go back to the, I'm sorry.
Is it adverse childhood event score? Is that what it means?
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I worked at the front desk, and it was very common that, well, when I was taking this class, I could actually apply it to some of the very stressed individuals, not realizing what kind of history they had, and it helped me to understand. Let me get this back to Karen. Huh. Karen wants to leave. Hello, hello.
I thought I was supposed to go to one and I went to one and there was no one there but me. That's not a very interesting conversation.
No, it isn't. You and I are both in room number 1.
Okay.
I just don't have the control.
Oh, now
changes.
she's inviting me to join room 2.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Very good, Sue.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Stella, you didn't
Yes.
hear me say from our first meeting, I knew we were meant to be.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love what I do, what I'm doing. I love what I'm gonna do. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
There you go. There you go. All right. Here we all are back again. Sorry for our little disruption. I made Mark a co-host and then I got into a room and I wasn't supposed to go there, but that's all right. We're going to learn. We're going to do this 2 more times tonight. Maybe the second and third time will be better. But anyway, does anybody want to talk about their experience with sharing their ACEs scores? Yes, Anne Maria.
Hi, my ACEs score was a 2. My main thing was my mom was mentally ill. Back in the day, I was telling the girls they were calling patients manic depressive psychosis. And my mom was actually one of the first people that was put on lithium. I grew up watching her in and out of mental institutions. And as I got to like age 8 or 9, I started to learn when it would occur, how it affected me, and how it made me so very strong. Walking out of a hospital one day, seeing my mom in a straitjacket onto a bed in Bellevue Hospital. And I walked out of that institution with the windows, and I asked my dad, will that ever come to me, not knowing down the line that it's going to be hereditary? And he taught me 4 principles of life, which I really held very, very close to me. And that's nobody, no problem, no cause, or no reason should cause you not to think for yourself.
That's lovely.
And that's always been my way of doing things. So I really think when it comes to advocacy, I did this as an early part for my mom, because I wanted to know how to treat her, how to identify, how to get her treated early. as best as possible and not witness all the things that I saw the anguish of her going through. And then eventually my brother was an alcoholic, and then down the road, he's a genius. He has an IQ of 198 or had, I'm sorry, he's deceased now, but he also was bipolar. So it was a little bit rough into my teenage years, but I thank God that as I went on, I was an honor student. And I got a double degree in psychology and nursing. So I
Thank
was
you,
able
Anne
to
Marie.
understand it.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share their ACEs story with us today?
Karen, I think I was sharing with I believe it
Monique?
was Monique, that when or Sue, when I've been supporting you through part of my tenure in the homeless shelter, and how understanding the ACEs score helped me understand the context of the people that I was working with. Being an awareness of that. And one individual, I actually asked him to take the ACEs score. He was a young 20-year-old who had just lost his mom, and he was under multiple stresses. And it was a topic of dialogue that helped to put some context into his scenario.
Well, thank you, Mark, for sharing that. Thank you so much. Mark has got some pretty incredible experiences. Anybody else want to share? All right, so now you know what the scale is. And one thing I learned is I need to put all the questions in the chat before we break into groups so we can remember. All right, so I'm going to go back to our slide presentation. So thank you for your feedback about that. And we talked about our ACE score. So next thing is
Karen,
we're going, yes.
Karen, I have a question.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Monique. I have a question about that. What is the purpose of doing that during this course?
The purpose of that
The ACE,
is,
what was the purpose?
the purpose is we as RN patient advocates need to be looking at our own inner landscape as we work with patients who are going through horrific mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, financial, and psychological difficulties. And it's sort of like we talked about at the beginning that in nursing school, some of our instructors used to tell us you need to taste the same medicine that you give your patient. And so it is with us. We need to know our own internal landscape as we ask patients to go through some of this work also. That's why. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I say something about that?
Yes.
Just as I've gone through my own journey, things that trigger me have gotten less and less and less. And I have, I think, more empathy. So when you did this assignment, or when we did this assignment, I mean, that was my thought, that I was grateful to get the score. I knew what it was from where I had worked, but yeah, I really appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
And thank you about identifying the triggers, because we all have triggers, lifelong triggers that we've worked on, and they've been adjusted, and maybe they've been filed down a bit, but it's all, and we're going to be working with some patients who have extremely raw triggers, and they will lash out at us. And I'll probably be giving you an example about one of those later, but thank you for your feedback on that. Thank you for your question, Monique. Thank you, Sue. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit on 180 degrees on who is your healing team. And so as we do this work, when you're in private practice, you're alone out here in practice land, and it's important to understand who are your support people. And I like to call it who's on your healing team. So you can do this as a list, or you can do it on a picture. So for this class, I just did it as a picture, but these are people I lean on or ask help from as I walk this path on this earth. And some of mine are a naturopathic physician, psychic. Mark is one of them because he's my IT person, my hair person. All of these people have one thing in common, and they all have terrific, wonderful healing energy. I have a great acupuncturist, a great attorney, a great accountant. There's a great faith community. I've come to learn who my guides and angels are. I have a great plumber, handyman, my sisters, my colleagues. I have a great therapist and my beloved partner. So it's really good for you all to do the same and recognize that you probably have a rather impressive healing team also to help you do your great work. And it's good to be able to call on all of these people when you need their help. So who is on your healing team? So we are going to, let's see, we're going to go back here for a minute. And we're going to stop this for a minute. We're going to go back into groups. You're going to have 2 minutes to do, 3 minutes to do who's on your healing team. So this time I'm hoping I don't move myself. And Mark, you are you, let's see, are you, you're not a host. I'm a host, right?
Right.
Okay. So we're going to do this again, and I'm going to put you in smaller teams of 2. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, we're going to do 4 teams of 2. And you're going to just name 3 or 4 people on your healing team. This exercise is designed for you to think about that. And if you only have a few, you might want to think about how can you, attract some more into your realm here. So here we go. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to move Sue to room 3. Okay. And I'm going to recreate these 3 breakout rooms. Okay, so you're going into 3 breakout rooms. Godspeed. Let's see. All right, that looks pretty good right there. Here you go. We'll come back in about 3 minutes, okay?
So interestingly, Susan Mims brought up ACEs score during her presentation today as one of the determinants of health. You know, and what the Dogwood Health Trust is trying to do.
Yeah.
I was impressed to hear that.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot to even write that down. It is a social determinant of health for sure. So, and Monique, we didn't send her. She might not be going in. Okay.
She's traveling. I think she said her commute is causing marginal connectivity. Okay. And I noticed it was a little slow.
Okay, that's all right.
On the mechanics too. So okay. Broadband learnings are never ending.
Yeah. Broadband learnings. Well, good. So I'm assuming that Atlanta Sky has different hosts every week or different people speaking once a month, right, Mark?
Yes. And I didn't recognize the name that will be coming next month, but these are true leaders in the community, and they bring to the presentation or to the delegates meeting a top-notch presentation of their content. So it's been amazing learning opportunities. Every meeting also starts with an opportunity for each to talk about, what's happening in their community. And that's also kind of cool to hear,
Good.
specifically. So all the
Okay.
way from Brevard up to Madison County.
Oh, wonderful. I'd love to know who was there from Brevard. That's pretty cool. Do you remember?
The mayor was there, and she has a new town manager.
Great.
Town manager is actually from North Wilkesboro.
Okay.
I don't remember his name. I don't remember the mayor's name. I'm still learning all these folks.
Awesome.
Nathan Ramsey was actually in Washington, D.C., and he had the White House behind him in his motel room. A real impressive view.
Pretty cool.
Mhm.
Who was leading it? Was it Leanne?
The mayor of Weaverville, Patrick Fitzsimmons, who used to be over Mountain BizWorks.
Oh, okay.
He was the facilitator.
Awesome, Mark. All right. Well, I'm going to bring them back. I think it's been 3 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, here we go. This time it's going a little easier. Close all rooms.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
those are controls I don't have,
Okay.
even though I'm co-host. So I tried signing back in to Zoom through the web browser. So hopefully if I get disconnected, come back in and be fixed.
Okay, great. Okay. Hi, Kelly.
Hey,
We've had a,
getting peanut butter M&Ms.
oh, I bet he likes that.
That's, well, if you'll hear her go, "Rrr," that's what she's telling me she wants another one. Yep. We went to see my daughter play her first travel ball game, or not travel ball, college game this weekend. And my neighbor let me borrow her doggy stroller, and my husband went out there. He said, I'm not going. I'm not going. It was a leopard print, pink striped doggy.
Mhm.
Like, okay, bye. Give me the keys to the truck.
That's
Uh,
pretty cute.
I did the stroller.
That's pretty cute. All right. All right. Welcome back, everyone. So does anybody want to share about members of your healing team?
I can. We have a small group of nurses. We call ourselves NFH, which stands for Nurses from Hell, because we like to give the corporate world help, as well as, advocate for our patients. So that's our little nickname, and we get together at least once a month and sometimes do arts and crafts and just talk. And one of them's writing a book. I can't wait for it to come out.
Nice.
So yeah, all
What
about
are
her.
you crying
nursing.
about?
No, it's
He said, in it, nurses from home.
Oh no, from hell.
From hell. Okay.
That's what I thought she said. I wasn't sure.
NFH. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So they're my
Rita,
next-
Spell
what?
that name.
That's awesome.
Are you looking at dresses and stuff like that?
No,
That's
I'm not.
her dress.
I just saw, because I saw.
All right. Anybody else want to share about their healing team?
This is Stella. You know what? That's an interesting question. And I was talking to Anna Marie because I think about people that are supportive in my life, like siblings and cousins, but I don't know if I would put them on my healing team because I don't know. It's interesting. I know we would be there for each other in emergency, but I'm a person that needs to be surrounded by positive energy. So that's who I would want on my healing team. So that's a lot to think about, I have a best friend I will put on there, and a hairstylist that I have, but yeah, it just gave me a lot to think about of who would be on my team.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Stella. Anybody else want to share members of their healing team? Yes, Anne Maria.
I have put down my cousin who's a chaplain, and I think his spirituality has really embarked and made me more positive. So he's taught me different levels, how to deal with people, how to accept them, how to express their feelings. And he just turned everything negative that I would think about into a positive role. So I was telling Stella, I also have a friend the same way. We reconnected like after maybe 40 years, and the same thing happened. His spirituality, made me into a positive. So I put them as my healing teams, and everybody that I thought would be positive around me. I didn't want any negative people. I
Mhm.
didn't want any negativity because it would just drag
Amen.
me down.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share about anything with their healing team?
So I just want to join in with Stella and I say, yes, I agree. I have, family that I love and adore, and I know they would be there for me and in an emergency, but I wouldn't necessarily put them on my healing team. I do have a dear friend. She lives all the way out in California, and we meet every
Oh.
week virtually, and we're there for each other. And I have a therapist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would
Awesome.
like to invite, I do have a coworker. Well, she's working somewhere else. And I feel like, yeah, she should be on my healing team as well. So
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you all. So I'm going to stop sharing, or I'm going to start sharing, and we'll go back to one other slide. And I think it's 8:03. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the 5 types of intuition that you could possibly have. And we're going to do another breakout session about that. So in case you haven't noticed, this is our inner landscape work tonight as holistic RN patient advocates. So go ye therefore and have some nurturing substances or bathroom experiences, and we'll see you back here about 8:09. Okay. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
All righty. So welcome back. It's 8:09, 8:10. All right. So now we're going to go into one more exercise with internal landscape work. And that is to talk about the 5 types of intuition. And all of us have one or more of these. And sometime during your childhood or upbringing, you might have known that you were very intuitive, or maybe you didn't till after you've gotten older. But just to review these, and then we're going to go into a breakout room for you guys to identify this. So the 5 types are clairvoyance, which is the act of seeing an image or a friend's face or a daydream. Clairaudience is when you sense frequency resonances or vibrations with you, or you hear a voice from someone who's not physically present. Clairsentience is feeling emotions of someone near you, ability to sense and then offer help to others. That's also called empathic. In some cases, some of us can walk into a room and know immediately that something is wrong in a room that we're in. Clear cognizance is the intuitive act of clear knowing. You might have a light bulb turning on, you just know. You came across a problem and you just know what to do. Some nurses report that they walk into a room and they just know that their patient is going to cross over. Clairalience means that you're able to detect aromas as they filter in from the spirit world. So I'm going to, first thing I'm going to do is I am going to, I'm going to attempt to, I don't think it's going to let me do it from here. I am going to copy the slide and put it in the chat. And then when you guys get put into little groups of 2, that you can refer to that. So that'll make it easier for you to pick out one. So if you can maybe pick out one of these types of intuition, or if you automatically know 2, and then share that with each other. And then when you come back in the room, I'm going to ask you each to share your intuition type. So I am going to put these in the chat, she said, hoping that she's going to. Of course, I took a picture of it and now I can't see it. So anyway, I'm going to, do you all want me to show that again so you can pick out one before we go in?
If you go into the editor rights of your presentation, Karen, you should be able to copy and paste from that.
Okay.
You were in the view mode and it won't let you copy and paste.
Okay. Let's see if I can do that again, Mark. So where is the editor rights, Mark?
Yeah, you're in presenter mode right now, so you need to move it from presenter to.
Okay, I gotcha.
Like you're actually editing the slide. And
yeah, let's see. Of course, I'm trying to exit out of here and it won't let me do it.
You'll probably have to quit the presentation.
Yeah.
We can just take a picture of it with our cell phone.
Let's do that. Yep. Okay. Take a picture of it with your cell phones. Hold on a minute. All right. Now, take a picture. That's what I'm going to do too.
Yeah, let's see. Okay.
Hey, Greg. Okay. All right. Everybody had time to take a picture? All right. I'm going to put you in a room and we're going to give you 5 minutes. And if you can just think of one type that's maybe most prevalent or maybe unusual, whatever reason. And when we bring you back, we'll talk about that. So it's 8:14. I'm going to bring you back at 8:19. Okay. Okay, here we go. So let's see here. Let's close this. So we may, here we go.
Hello. Hello,
Are we
Anne
in-
Marie.
Are we,
Hi,
Hey,
hi,
Stella.
Stella.
are we all in a room?
We're all
I
together
guess so.
still.
I think you're supposed to be,
I
let's see.
think we're
open
all
up
in
your-
the same
Okay.
room.
There we go.
Right.
You're going now. Bye.
Karen, I'm gonna leave the meeting room for a moment and sign back in and see if my login to Zoom helps me to support you a little bit better. So I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, okay. All right, come on. I think you want to go outside. Come on, let's go. Come on. That's what she wanted. She wanted to go outside. Come on, let's go. Bella wants to go outside. That's why she's working. I know it. No, you can't go out. Bella, the dog, has learned how to bark when she wants to go out.
Okay. I'm learning, I guess. I didn't know that.
Okay. Can you hear me,
So I ha-
Mark?
Yes, I can. I have the same controls that I did as a co-host, and it's just a view. It looks like you tried to put me into a breakout room. I'm not sure if that's part of it, but I can see the rooms and who's in there, but I don't have any administrative controls over them.
Okay. I can see there's at least two people. There's two people in every room. So that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So I'm going to give them, let's see, it's 8:17. I'll give them one more minute. You don't need a lot of time to do this, you know.
No, it's a nice variation of the class too. It allows for the engagements of the students, one to interact in Zoom and
Mm-hmm.
two to meet individually with their cohorts. So,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
so tell me real quick, why Spain and do you have a quick spill as to why you're traveling international?
So Greg and I have always wanted to walk the Camino. Are you familiar with the Camino de Santiago?
That I'm not really. I mean, I think I know
Okay.
what it is, but
I'm going to give you an assignment to watch this movie called The Way. Ever heard of it?
mm-mm.
It's an unbelievable heart film about a man in New York who's a surgeon, and he gets the message that his son has died on the Spanish leg of the Camino de Santiago. So it's a Catholic pilgrimage from 3 or 4 different places like France or Portugal or Spain. They go up to Santiago where this big cathedral was, and it was where St. James was buried, one of the 12 disciples.
Cool.
So
cool.
people from all the world have been doing this walk for hundreds of years. And
We have a rainy weekend coming up, so I look forward to hearing about
Okay.
or seeing the movie.
All righty. Good. We'll talk more about that. All right. So I'm going to bring them back, Mark. Here we go. Close all rooms. So we're doing our countdown. There's a couple of famous actors, one famous actor in the original The Way. I think it is 20 years old. It's a deeply heartfelt movie. It'll probably make you cry. It's incredible. It's a deeply moving place. So that's why we wanted to go. And I was going to go, but I hurt my foot. So I'm going to meet Greg there later.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
I always come back first.
Well, good. We're glad to see your smiling face.
That's because you're good, Kelly. You're on it. You know it.
I just
Yeah. Yeah, you're on it, Kelly. That's right. Okay, here they come.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, welcome back, everyone. So why don't we go around the room and let's talk about what intuition type are you? Chelsea, what about you?
All right. I think I actually recognize 3 of them, but really the big one is the clairsentience, the empathic. That whole walking into a room and you can sense something, you know something, even if people are trying to pretend everything's okay. Oh, yeah. That happened a lot when I was in critical care, and of course in oncology. But now with my family members too, it really drives my boys nuts. So, but yeah, definitely that one.
Thank you. And Kelly, what about you?
Definitely, yeah, number 3, the empathic, and also 2 and 4.
What are 2 and 4?
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I didn't say the right things. 4 is the act of clear knowing. Oh, and number 1. But I didn't like active seeing. I didn't understand how that was intuition, because I can close my eyes and daydream and see people's faces, but I don't understand how that relates to intuition.
Okay, well, we can talk about that. So your primary is your empathic?
Yes.
Okay,
3,
great.
4, and then 1.
All right, wonderful. All right, and Mary, what about you?
For me, the predominant one was the clairsentient. I can be with someone or just and feel like something's not right, and then try to ask the question to help them open up. So I consider myself empathic, and I pick up energy. So I really have to like learn to shield myself, because I pick up a lot of energy. And at the hospital, that can be very exhausting. So, but I was telling Anna Marie that on occasion I've experienced the clairalience where I'm sitting and just suddenly I smell either it's a perfume or like a flower, or if someone is smoking, and then I'm like looking around like, where's that coming from? Because I think it's my imagination. So.
Thank you. Okay, what about you, Anne Maria?
I also have number 3, the clairsentience. I like sometimes I'll go in and I can almost feel somebody guiding me to try to understand an emotional effect of a person. You know, especially like I've been in critical care so many years, and pathetic towards them. So everybody around me, and that guidance to me is my mom. Her spirit is always around me so that I can feel another person's feeling and try to be very empathetic with them. So I've always had that. I was telling her, I always feel like whenever something's going wrong, it's my mom coming to the rescue or trying to warn me, you know, this is the way things gotta be. This is how you have to express yourself to get that person to open up and understand what they're going through.
Thank you, Anne Maria. And Monique, what about you?
Well, I can't pronounce it as well as others, but the clairsentient.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Because of just getting a sense when around others, you know, something is going on, something is wrong, or something's like I always say there's an elephant in the room, but you could just feel it and sense that something's going on.
Thank you, Monique. And Miss Stella, what about you?
I guess I'm with the majority, the clairsentience and also the claircognizance. And I know I have been in different situations where I can sit and say something's going to happen. And not that I'm predicting it, but I just say it's going to happen, and it does. And it kind of had my children. I would do that with my children at times, and they were looking at me strange, you know. How do you know that? You know, I always say because I'm your mother, but you know. But yeah, I would say those two for sure.
Thank you. And Sue, what about you?
I'm also the same. In fact, Stella and I agreed. We were the same. For the clairsentience and claircognizance. And I had shared that I used to dismiss that the claircognizance, but then as things went on and I would be right a lot of the time, then I started listening more and more and trusting what I was feeling.
Awesome. Thank you. And Sandy, what about you?
Yes, claircognizant. I've done that my whole life, and it used to really scare me because I kept feeling that something was coming together for another person. And now I just know to put it in the plan because I would see that something I could just put in. I think it's just observation. And I just put it all together, and that I'm just not wrong about it. And so as I've gotten older, now I trust it, but early on it just scared me.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. And Mark, what about you?
Clairsentience is definitely, you know, what I relate to the most. Just being able to feel the emotions of the people around me.
Thank you. And for me, it's clairsentience also. I can walk into a room and just know something that's wrong. You just know it, or everybody's out of the room, but you can still walk in the room and know something did not go well in that room. So thank you all. That's just a skill that we all are born with, and our culture doesn't like to necessarily identify with and acknowledge and support. And we as nurses are highly intuitive beings, so it's good to say that. Okay, so I'm going to share our screen again. And this time we are going to come down here, and we've talked about our intuition types. And now we are going to get into how to be an exceptional networker. And networking is extremely important for you all in terms of attracting your clients to you. So what kind of networking really ignites you? And are you networking in things or with people that are totally interesting? So Greg, my husband, he was a former hospice nurse, and then he became a dying doula, and then he became aware of he had a near-death experience as a 15-year-old. So now he's a member of the International Association of Near-Death Studies. He's a heart math instructor, and he's in the Conscious Dying Institute. And then there's National Hospice and Palliative Associations. I'm an American Holistic Nurse Association. And then there's different nurses associations all over the country. And then there's LinkedIn. And then there's business networking. So I wanted to tell you all about these three big patient advocacy organizations. I used to belong to all three, but now they're so expensive, I can really only afford one of them. So the one I participate in is the Aging Life Care Association, and it's $325 to join. And they have a national directory that you can click on, the Aging Life Care Association A client called me today from Washington State, and she wanted to know if there were any navigators or RN patient advocates in the state of Washington. So Aging Life Care Association, you click on there, type in the state, and I got 16 different care managers or patient advocates for Washington. The National Association of Healthcare Advocacy is another, that's 325. And then the Alliance of Professional Health Advocates, that's called APFA, that has Advo Connection, and that's a free patient, free care manager / patient advocacy directory. And I went to them and found 4 people who had registered. So the Big Mac Daddy right now, and this is just this is a snapshot today. The Aging Life Care Association seems to have more members in it subscribed to the organization, so you can be found on a directory. So FYI. Business networking, some of you guys have talked about SCORE and your place where you have entrepreneurial or small business centers located. There's also this fabulous organization called National Nurses in Business, NNB, and they have a fabulous symposium once a year. This year it was in July, last year it was in September, but they have people from all over the country presenting all kinds of things about nurses in business. That's a good one. I also belong to our local Blue Ridge Holistic Nurse Association. Then there's the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, what we talked about earlier. And I'm a member of that. Plus I serve on a committee called the Education Series Planning Committee, where we provide free workshops from healthcare professionals all over the region to present a topic. We just had a topic last Friday from a geriatrician who talked about how to communicate with how to advocate with your geriatrician about your own health. This is the banner from the National Nurses in Business, and this was their virtual conference last year. I didn't go to the one this year in July because there was nothing that really resonated, but last year's was excellent. Business networking, this was some comments from 1 or 2 of our students last time. And one of the things that one of them said was, everyone, alerts.google.com is a great website that you can go in and be notified of any literature, content, blogs, or videos. It can set up for 160 words, and it comes as a news digest to you once a day. So you can go to alerts.google.com and type in patient advocate. You can type in RN patient advocate. I always like to know what's going on with the nursing shortage. So I type in nursing shortage, or I can talk CNA shortage or medical errors. And so I get literature every day from one of these. So that's just another way to find out what's happening. And then your community networking. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have been participating in things in your region. So I've served on the board of the League of Women Voters and Planned Parenthood. And I host a death cafe once a month. And there's just all kinds of things I participate in just so that I can be involved in my community. And the more networking you do, the more likely it is people will say, well, you know, that Karen Sanders, I think she's a patient advocate. I met her at the Arboretum one day. She was hiking out there. So then what are your passions for networking? What really lights you up? Is it going to concerts? Is it gardening? Is it singing? Or going outside? Is it ukulele groups? And we've had a bunch of students. Part of your homework is going to be what's your passion and what can you do to have yourself connected to groups of people that have nothing to do with patient advocacy, but it's a great way to network with people. And then, of course, if you do what you love, it's going to shine through in your soul. And people are going to say, you know, that Chelsea, there's something about her. She's so positive. I want her to be my patient advocate. So going into, we're going to close our time tonight by talking about that fourth module about navigating the U.S. healthcare system. And the thing in there that I'm going to talk about, it's not 10 reasons, it's going to be 13, the top 13 reasons why patients and families seek an RN patient advocate so you can help them solve their problems. And so the first place that I get the absolute most referrals is patients in the hospital. We have a horrible nursing shortage, RN shortage, CNA response shortage, people not answering call lights, people not emptying trash, people having disgusting access to their bathrooms. I mean, just horrible situations. So people call me at 10 o'clock at night on my cell phone saying, I have come back from surgery and nobody's answered my call light. The second one people ask a lot about is what is the difference between home health and home care? And will my physician write me an order so I can have around the clock nursing care 24/7 because I'm 88 years old, I live alone, and I've just had a total hip replacement and I've been discharged from a skilled facility and nobody's taking care of me. So it's important to know what the difference is. And I know we have a few of you guys who work in case management and et cetera, and home health. And a lot of you know that home health, you've got to have a physician order. And if you have traditional Medicare and Advantage plans, it's going to cover home health with a home health order from the physician. And then there's home health aid services, which are not covered by Medicare or traditional insurance. Also, private duty's not covered. And then we can, if you do have Medicaid, some assistance can be provided with bathing and dressing and toileting. But home care is out of pocket. And here in Western North Carolina, I'm sure it's more expensive for some of you all, but an agency CNA gets between $24 to $32 an hour. A private person gets $20 to $30 an hour. An agency nurse gets $35 to $50 an hour. And some nurses here are also getting $30 to $40 an hour just in private practice going to the home. The third reason, this one's big, is I am in the hospital and they want to send me to a rehab facility at discharge. How do I choose one? They have already chosen a facility. Is it a good one or is it a bad one? And most of the times patients are calling me saying they are sending me to a 1-star facility and I don't know what to do because they're saying they can't do anything about it. In the chat, I want you all to write in the chat if you all know how to go to Medicare.gov nursing home compare. Are you familiar with how to do that? Let me just stop sharing for a second so I can look at your chat. You can say, yes, I know, or no, I don't know.
No.
Does anybody know? Okay. You know how to do it, Chelsea? Okay, good. Kelly, you know how to do it? I can't hear you. Yes? No? Can't hear
I
you.
need to, if I just have to type in the website, yes. And
Okay.
then look, I mean, I
Okay.
know which ones are bad and good around here.
All right, good. Stella, do you know how to do that?
I've never been on the website.
All right. I think I'm going to do it. Mary, do you know? Monique, Sandy?
I go on there. I study the
Yes.
site, but
So
it won't let me put anything in the chat. Oh, now it came up.
that's okay. So I am going to, I'm just having the great time today getting out of here. Here we go. So I'm going to show you how this works. First of all, let me go back and share my screen. I'm just having a great time tonight here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you, and then I'm going to show you how this works. Okay. So I'm going to go to medicare.gov/nursing home compare. I probably get asked to do this maybe 5 to 10 times a week. Okay. So does anyone have a facility they want to know about? Okay, Kelly, name it.
Let's
Or
Canterbury.
what
Phoenix
city? Phoenix?
Phenix.
Okay, tell me what city and state you're in.
Phoenix, Phe. No, E. We're in Alabama. Phenix. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. And I'm just going to search. All right. So we have Parkwood. I'm going to go to the one you want first. Canterbury.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to stay there 3 times when my mom was there.
All right. So we're going to click on. So you'll see that the overall star score is 2. And then I'm going to click on it, and it'll give you the overall rating is 2. Health inspections is 1. Staffing is 2. Quality measures is 5. Okay. Go down a little further. That's it. So just so you'll know, I never, ever, ever send anyone I care about to a 2-star facility. Okay. Then you can click on that and it'll tell you about average number of residents per day is 112. Total number of nurse hours per resident per day is 3.8. Nationally, average is 3 hours and 46 minutes. Alabama average is 3 hours and 40 minutes. So this is low. Registered nurses hours per day, 26 minutes versus 41 and 35. And then nurse hours, yikes, 1 hour and 44 minutes for nurse aides versus national average of 2 hours and 12 minutes. So you can really dive deep into these websites, this Medicare website, and it's pretty dreadful. You've got one there in Columbus, Georgia with a 1 star.
That's terrible. And
terrible.
Orchard View, yes. They don't ever come out, or if they do, they're dead when they are, or almost there.
It's pretty terrible. So everybody needs to know how that works, okay? I'm going to go back and share my screen one more time. Yes.
Can I just say the laws change in January?
Oh,
and
goody.
A lot of, so those value-based purchasing things all go into effect in January 1st. And a lot of places they haven't made any changes. They are not going to get paid.
So what does that mean? How will it change the scores, Sandy?
So the scoring is changed where you notice they had for outcomes, they had like those 5 stars.
Yes.
That will no longer be the case because they can just kind of mess with that. So they're using charting, and instead it's going to be with opinions and things of the patients instead. It's going to be a whole different set of rules. And I believe it's affecting the nursing homes and not just home health.
Wow.
So I know it's home health for sure, but this has been coming for over 2 years.
Wow. Well, thank you for giving us a heads up on that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't wait.
All right. people are going to ask you what's the difference between palliative and hospice care. We're going to have a speaker named Dr. Aditi Sethi Brown come and talk to you probably the latter half of November. This is one of her slides, curative versus palliative care. It's surprising how many nurses, physicians don't know what palliative care is. It's the relief of suffering. And we're looking at symptoms as entities of themselves, and therapy aimed to control symptoms and relieve suffering, and enabling the patient to live as comfortably as possible until death. And then for hospice, the definition is it's end of life care, the provision of palliative care when death is imminent. And then her last slide is palliative care is for patients and families experiencing a debilitating chronic or life-threatening illness, and it's applicable early in the course of illness. So another frequent question is families are always going to say, when I am in hospice, will hospice pay for all of my care 24/7? The answer is no, and that you have to be admitted to hospice by a hospice physician,
Right.
and hospice will pay out of Medicare Part A, and it will pay for a few hours of RN assessment each week and a few hours of a CNA. And then the rest of the time, the rest of the 24 hours, the family has to come up with a way to take care of the patient. So it's pretty shocking to families about that. I am in a skilled or assisted living. The nursing staff is ignoring me. Who do I get to call for help? I asked that they talk to the director of nursing. If I know it's a really awful facility, I give them the number of the long-term care ombudsman, which is a federal program. That will be one of your assignments. We are actually going to have a long-term care ombudsman come and talk to us in the class. I had a terrible experience while I was in the hospital. I want to get my medical records, but I don't know how to get them. Can you help me? So this is an example of an authorization for release of medical information. This is like pulling teeth in one of
Yeah.
our local hospitals, just pulling teeth. So I am visiting a very indigent patient right now, and her son died in the hospital about a month ago. It was terrible. So I am doing her, I'm working with her at no charge. And the first step in trying to find out what happened to him is getting the records. So went over her house, we filled out the forms, I took them back, I faxed them to the hospital, got a fax confirmation, then they sent her a letter 2 weeks later. I went to see her yesterday, and they said they couldn't give her the form, the medical records, because she had to quote unquote close the estate. She didn't know what that meant. So now we have to go to the courthouse to talk to one of the clerks of court to start her on closing out the estate and getting everything moved so that she can be identified as the person who's going to be able to get his medical records. It's really bureaucratic and very frustrating. I cut my finger when I went to the emergency room, and they charged me $4,000 for this one procedure. What do I do now? This is a true story. I had a young patient who went to the ER and cut his finger. He has no health insurance, and he works in a construction site, and they sent him a bill for $4,000. So we now had to ask for an itemized bill. And then we had to get an entire copy of the medical record so I could see what was ordered and what wasn't. It's very frustrating. I had a terrible experience in my skill facility. I want to complain to a federal agency. So in this case, we have them call this number. Every state has a Department of Health and Human Services. This is what the one from North Carolina looks like. It's the shape of the state with DHHSR, Department of Health Service Regulation. And there's a 1-800 number down here. So I sit with the patient, I add them as a caller on my add a call on my cell phone. We do a conference call and I review with the patient what they're going to say. And I sit with them while they say, you know, nobody came in my room and cleaned my room for 2 weeks while I was there. Nobody did my vital signs, et cetera, et cetera. Is staying home while I die or at the end of my life cheaper than living in a facility? Can you tell me about home managers since I'm living alone who can stay with me 24/7 when I'm at the end of my life with no family or friends? So that is actually a call I had from an 87-year-old person today. She doesn't have long-term care insurance. She doesn't have much patient assets. So we're going to put her in touch. I've got to go do a financial assessment with her and see if she can qualify for Medicaid. We do have a few facilities here that allow Medicaid, and you all know that there are some facilities that don't take Medicaid, and some facilities take mostly paying patients, but they might have a few allocated for Medicaid. And then there's a new entity called Home Manager. And this is someone who will come in and stay in the home and manage the fleet of caregivers 24/7. And there's a company called grandmajoan.com in Chicago. And these people make between $100,000 to $140,000 a year. They work 6 12-hour shifts and they are off on Sundays. And they can also do some extra work being on call. But they require having a private room and a bathroom. So you're going to see more of that. I'm almost through. I'm running out of money and can no longer stay in a facility. Can I apply for Medicaid? Yes, you can. And that goes back to some facilities take Medicaid and some don't. And again, filing a complaint. In our state, we have something called most forms. Some states have a POST form. I don't have a will or advanced directives or a most form. How can I get this done? This is called a most form medical orders for scope of treatment. There's 5 categories that we have the patient complete, but it has to be signed by the physician and kept with the patient. And I'm on 3 blood pressure pills. My serum creatinine is 1.46. My MD does not seem concerned. What should I do? I'll probably bring that back to you next week. This is an actual case study I'm going to have you all do. And which Medicare plan should I choose? You're going to get asked 1,000 times to help people understand what is traditional Medicare Part A, Part B, and what's a Medicare Advantage plan and what's drug plan. So you can find free Medicare classes called the SHIP program. Each state has got a SHIP program. That's the Seniors Health Insurance Information Program. And you might just type in SHIP program, Oklahoma, SHIP program, Texas, and you can find Google, or I'm not sorry, Zoom meetings about all that. So we've talked about healing team, we talked about that, we've talked about this. And lastly, do you guys have questions? Whew, that's a lot. Any questions about anything? I'm going to do takeaways. It's a lot. All right. No questions, so I'm going to do takeaways, okay? All right. Miss Sue, what are your takeaways tonight? You're muted, Sue.
There. Well, it's a lot of information and I appreciate it as always. I think I've already said, I had heard of the ACEs before and I was a little surprised at my score. And I do have a therapist and I'm going to keep her. So that was a good takeaway. But having been an RN for 44 years, that a lot of the rough edges do get worn off just by dealing with the public in all sorts of crises, which you all already know. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And Sandy, what about you?
Well, one thing I wanted to keep an eye on concerto care because we will be doing the wraparound services you just described as part of Blue Cross. But so we'll see how that works. But the scoring, I want to say that I think the things I experienced, a lot of it with against females mostly and things of that nature. For instance, my brother had Trans-Ams and got full everything.
Oh, I think she fell out. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully she'll sign back in. Yikes. Okay. Oops, just coming back in. Sandy, are you there?
Lost me.
Yeah, we lost you. So finish
Tried
up
to
what you.
prove I was worthy. I tried to prove I was worthy for college like my brothers, but I was not successful. I even got admitted to college when I was 16 and paid for it and tried to prove it that way, but it didn't work. Anyway, so anyway, I went on and finished everything myself, and so did all my sisters. So, but I didn't get to be a doctor, and that's why I wanted to be. So that's it.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay. And Mary, what about you?
Wow, my takeaway is first, I appreciate the section where we talked about intuition and how important that is. Also about being aware of our own triggers. And the other is I have a lot to learn about all of this, so I can be the best patient advocate possible. So, and soon in February of 23, I'll be 65. So I'm also learning about I need to learn about Medicare myself.
Thank you. Thank you. And Monique, what about you?
There was a great deal of content in this class today. It's almost overwhelming. But the big piece for me was knowing the 5 different types of intuition. And also I think like Mary said, I need to work on increasing my knowledge in the area of insurance, Medicare and Medicaid and things like that. That is the area that I need the most development in so that I can assist patients.
Thank you, Monique. And Stella, what about you?
I agree with everyone that, yes, that there was a lot of info, but I guess the one thing I'm going to definitely take away is working on my holistic healing team. I need to really sit down and think of who I want, to be a part of that.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
And Anne Maria, what about you?
I'm like with Stella, there was a lot to absorb tonight. And right now I'm actually going through the process of learning more. I am of Medicare age, but I'm dealing with my brother-in-law. So the information I'm trying to get is what exactly is the Medicare versus Medicare Advantage, how to apply for Medicaid in that sense. So I'm looking into that field as much as possible. In regard to my intuition, again, like Stella, I'm trying to build a very solid team that I want to incorporate, not only nursing, but in other fields to try to build a very good business for myself.
Thank you. Thank you. And Kelly, what about you?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I'm really interested in how people with certain insurance cannot go to those 1 or 2 star facilities, because I know, I mean, when I see them rolling out, I just like, oh Lord, I'm going to check on them every day. So that really piqued my interest, because if I can do something and know something to where my lovely patients don't have to go to those terrible places.
Great. Thank you. And Chelsea, what about you?
Two things. One, I am feeling I'm currently in a really bad job, which is ending in April because of corporate lovely world. It's a bonus for me. So I'm like, okay, fire me, yay. But I'm lucky in that we had to learn the Medicare information. We had to learn all of that. It was part of the job. So that is a blessing. But also then the thing that I need to work on is actually my networking skills. As I'm not from this area originally. So I'm really going to have to be a little more brave and be ready to put myself out there.
Girl, I'll come give you a lesson.
Thank you, Kelly. I can use it.
And Mark, what about you?
So as a technology support individual for Karen, she mentioned something today that's related to productivity. It was the Google Alerts. Google Alerts requires you to have a Gmail address. I say this because in the world of productivity online, there are 2 major players that do really, really well in productivity. One is called the Microsoft Office Productivity Suite. The other is my preference, which is Google Drive. And Google Drive is a key, and it offers you a lot of access to free tools that are exceptionally functional. I spent a little while yesterday talking to a former student of Karen's, talking about storing your learnings electronically, not on your computer, but into the cloud, specifically your Google Drive, excuse me. And I say Google just because we know Google is great at search. And that's very, very true in Gmail and the use of search as part of your productivity tool set.
Okay. Thank you all. So you're going to have one homework assignment, and that is to find one networking group you're interested in joining. And you get bonus points if you actually join.
What do you consider a networking group?
What do you consider networking group? It could be social, it could be business, professional, fun, friends, church.
Neighborhood.
I know that.
Okay, well, you got to find a new one. All right, well, you know what time it is now. Yay. All right, everybody have a good week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye-bye.
Best
Bye.
wishes for my daughter pitching to get
Bye.
Mississippi State Friday, okay?
All righty. Okay, see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Karen, can I get a moment of your time?
Yes, sir, you certainly can.
And it's literally